The town of Greyhaven lay under a blanket of freshly fallen snow. Streetlights glowed weakly through drifting fog, their halos dimmed and ghost-like. Houses, neat and orderly, seemed alive only in their stillness. No laughter from the parties, no music from the bars, just the occasional flicker of movement behind frosted windows. Elias Munro stepped off the bus, coat collar raised, notebook in hand. He had arrived to cover a human interest story, or at least that's what he told himself. The legend of the last bell was old, whispered only in the cracks of the cobblestone streets. 10 years had passed since anyone truly noticed it, and yet tonight he felt the weight of something waiting. The air was still, but it carried a chill that bit deeper than the snow. He passed a crooked street sign. Something scratched into its wood caught his eye. 6-7. He frowned, but the wind carried away the sound of his footsteps. From somewhere high above, a bell tolled, distant, unseen. Its vibrations seemed to seep into the very ground beneath him. He shivered, a tingle crawling up his spine. Elias moved toward the town square, where a solitary figure waited. Mara Winters, historian and collector of old stories. Her eyes glimmered like frozen glass, reflecting the dim lights. "They know you're here," she said, low and urgent. "Who?" he asked. "The echoes, the ones who linger long after midnight. They're trapped in the bell. They watch, waiting." A sudden gust of wind carried a faint, unintelligible whisper. Elias felt it brush against his ears, threading doubt and unease into his mind. They walked toward the abandoned carnival at the town's edge. Snow had settled over rides like frozen graves. The Ferris wheel loomed overhead, skeletal against the fog. Lights flickered for a heartbeat, then died. Shadows stretched unnaturally, crawling along the walls. Shapes moved just beyond the corner of his vision, appearing and vanishing like smoke. A faint, distorted laughter echoed from the carousel. Elias froze. "Did you hear that?" "Don't listen too closely," Mara said. Every step into the carnival seemed to stretch time. Snow beneath his boots felt heavier. Reflections in broken mirrors showed him differently. His face, wider, hollowed, smiled when he did not. From the corner of the funhouse a figure appeared, not fully formed, shimmering in and out like a half-remembered memory. It pointed at the tower. Elias's breath caught. Mara tugged him forward. "We can't linger here. They'll notice." The streets back to the bell tower twisted unnaturally. Houses seemed closer than farther away. Windows reflected streetlights at impossible angles. Shadows moved against physics, crawling along walls and ceilings. One shadow formed a second Mara, mimicking her exact movements. He blinked. Only his real companion remained. A whisper drifted in his mind. 6-7. The words made no sense, yet stirred dread deep in his chest. The wind intensified, carrying a faint scent of smoke and old paper, the smell of forgotten memories. Every corner they turned seemed to lead back to the carnival, as if the town itself reshaped under some unseen will. The bell tower loomed ahead, taller than memory allowed. Its stones glistened dark and wet with frost. "Time bends here," Mara whispered. "Every second counts, and yet it means nothing at all." As they climbed the tower steps, snow blew through cracks in the walls. The stairs creaked under Elias's weight, but each step seemed to echo before he even moved. Shadows shifted unnaturally. Shapes moved behind fogged windows. A fleeting glimpse of a tall, hooded, faceless stranger vanished when he tried to focus. The distant bell tolled again, vibrating through every street and empty house. It carried weight, pulling at something inside him, urging him forward. Inside the tower, the wooden steps were darker than the outside night. Each echo sounded like multiple people walking behind him. Mara led the way, whispering, "Do not look behind you." A door appeared at the top of the stairwell, one he had not seen from below. It opened slowly by itself. Inside, the air was warmer, unnatural, carrying the faint scent of old wood and decay. From the corner of his eye, Elias saw shapes moving in the shadows, half-formed silhouettes of people who never fully existed. Whispers surrounded him, repeating names, distorted and overlapping. A bell tolled louder, closer now, thudding in his chest. Mara shivered. "They watch, Elias. They measure the seconds before the bell strikes. One misstep, and it will take you." The stairwell twisted. Walls extended, corridors lengthened, doors opened into rooms he hadn't entered. Mirrors reflected his face, but not his body. Reflections smiled when he did not. Snow swirled outside windows, forming cryptic shapes. Shadows in the hall bent and waited. Mara paused. "The bell is near. You can feel the pull, the weight of every echo. They are alive, trapped in the sound itself." At the top, the stairs ended at a platform overlooking the town. The distant bell tolled again. Snow fell heavier, muffling the sound of the world below. Elias looked at Mara. Her eyes were wide with fear. "It begins," she whispered. Shadows stretched across the platform. Shapes moved where light should not reach. A tall, hooded figure stood silently, faceless, its presence pressing against reality itself. For a moment Elias saw multiple versions of the tower, multiple versions of himself, all converging on the platform. Time. Fractured. A cold hand brushed his shoulder. He spun. Nothing was there. But the echo of fear remained. Mara grabbed his arm. "We have to keep moving. It's already begun." The air seemed to thrum with anticipation, and a low vibration ran through the stones beneath their feet. The stranger watched, unmoving, its face a void. The last glimpse Elias caught before the next bell strike was the town below, alive yet frozen, as though caught in a heartbeat of another world. And then silence fell, deep and heavy, leaving only the weight of expectation, the knowledge that the bell, the echoes, and the shadows had already marked this night as one they would never leave. The tower platform seemed suspended between worlds. Below, Greyhaven shimmered in impossible angles, snow drifting upward and sideways, as if the wind obeyed no law. Elias felt the air thicken, heavy with expectation, as though the night itself were holding its breath. The stranger remained, tall and silent, watching, faceless and unyielding. Mara whispered urgently, "It feeds on fear, on time itself. Every hesitation strengthens it." Her hand gripped his arm. "We have to ascend to the bell. Only there can we confront it." They climbed higher, stairs creaking and twisting unnaturally. Each step distorted space. Handrails bent, walls stretched, the tower seeming endless. Shadows grew thick, forming shapes from memories and nightmares, faces that screamed silently, hands that grasped for the living. At the final landing, the bell hung massive and blackened. Its edges shimmered with a faint, unnatural glow. Snow swirled around it in an invisible spiral, forming patterns that seemed like ancient writing, indecipherable, yet meaningful. The stranger advanced a step, and the world wavered like a reflection on disturbed water. Elias's reflection appeared in the bell's polished metal, 1,000 versions of himself, each screaming, laughing, and crying simultaneously. Mara reached for him. "Focus, Elias. Remember the ritual, the rhythm. The echo is alive, but it has a pattern. We can bend it." The bell began its slow, deliberate swing. Its deep tone resonated through every dimension, vibrating through the tower, the town, the night, and into the marrow of their bones. The shadows stretched and lunged toward them, trying to merge into the physical world, but the bell's vibration held them at bay, for now. Suddenly the stranger's hood fell back, not revealing a face but showing a void of infinite darkness, like staring into the end of everything. A wave of nausea hit Elias. He stumbled. Snow turned red beneath his boots, but not like blood, more like frozen fire. Time slowed, then fractured, each moment repeated, overlapped, and diverged. Elias saw Mara as a child, as an old woman, as a ghost trapped in the tower, and yet she remained steady, chanting softly words he could not comprehend, summoning the threads of reality back into cohesion. The bell's swing accelerated. Its tone shattered the silence into shards of sound that became visible, vibrant threads wrapping around shadows, threading through the stranger's void. The tower trembled, stones cracked. Light from outside fractured into millions of snowflakes, each reflecting a distorted world. Elias knew they had only one chance. He stepped forward, chanting words Mara had taught him, rhythms aligning with the tolls. The stranger lunged, a mass of darkness, but the bell's resonance wrapped around it, constricting, forcing it back. Snow erupted, cascading through air that felt both heavy and weightless. A scream tore through the space, high, impossible, echoing across infinite corridors of time. Mara finished her final words. The bell struck once, impossibly loud, shaking the foundation of existence. Shadows scattered. The tower stabilized, though it still bent subtly, as if breathing. The stranger fell back into the void, but Elias glimpsed one eye, an endless black pit, watching, waiting for the next bell. Silence fell. Greyhaven looked normal, though a perceptive observer might notice subtle distortions. A lamppost leaning slightly, a snowdrift forming unnatural shapes, a shadow moving against physics. The town was alive, yet changed forever by the echoes. Elias stumbled to the edge of the tower. Snow fell silently, covering the remnants of chaos. He looked at Mara. She was pale, trembling but alive. "It's done," she said, "for now. But remember, the bell never truly sleeps. Every decade it waits. Every decade it calls." Below, the town glimmered with normalcy. Laughter echoed faintly from houses, lights twinkled and life carried on, but Elias knew. He had felt the layers of reality tear. He had walked among shadows and echoes. Greyhaven's calm was a mask, hiding the resonance of time and fear that lingered just out of reach. The stranger's presence was gone, but the impression remained, a sensation in the air, a flicker of motion where there should be none, the echo of a toll that had never been struck. Elias understood that even leaving the tower did not free him from what had occurred. The night would haunt him, the memories would replay, and the bell would always call. Mara put a hand on his shoulder. "We are witnesses," she said, "survivors of something older than us, and one day it will return. The bell will ring, the shadows will stretch, the echoes will call." Elias looked back once more at the tower, now ordinary, still and silent in the falling snow. But the memory of the toll, the shapes, the stranger, and the fractured echoes would remain with him forever. And in the quietest moments, he could hear it, faint, impossible, waiting, calling.